Hey guys, welcome to Faz Radio. That's it. We've begun. See how easy that is? So we had a ongoing discussion or argument or discussion on the CryptoFaz Academy Discord that seemed to never end. But I think it's boiling itself down to its core components. I can hear that. I think it's boiling itself down to its core components of you feel that crypto projects need a fair amount of accountability. Or I won't say a fair amount. You think that crypto projects need accountability. Can you expand upon that? And then I shall endeavor to rip you a new butthole.
Okay, so that's a very general statement.
Yes,
Meaning,
you did make a
no,
very
no, no,
general.
no. You made a very general statement about crypto projects need to have accountability. We were specifically talking about Gala, and here's why I say that. Yet again, we started our banter last night because I'm looking for accountability from Gala specifically, because there are components to that are different maybe from some other projects. Meaning, we use our crypto funds and or our fiat funds to support that network. And we can have the disclaimers in here about we're not investing in Gala and it's not an investment. I think we all get that part. I hope we all get that part at this point. Regardless of how you want to phrase it, we have assets tied up in the Gala ecosystem that they rely on primarily for the benefit of Gala Games. So while I understand the legality behind, hey, they don't owe us a damn thing, at the same time, that's where they're getting their money, is they've decided they want this format to fund Gala Games. So yes, I do believe they're accountable to us for the simple fact that they need to tell us what's going on. And we understand things change. One of the big examples that we always use when we talk about this stuff is the turning a node license into an NFT. They said this is the intent. They're moving forward with it. It was assumed, and then bam, they bumped into this, well, maybe we would have regulatory problems with KYC, AML, all those kinds of things. And okay, that's fine. I get that, and that's the responsible thing to do. And kudos to Gala for recognizing that and not just jumping in and then having it turn into a complete disaster. However, the communication that comes out about that is real simple. Oh, hey, we bumped into this. Sorry, we can't do that right now. It's still on the radar. So that's just it. Well, now wait a minute. No, hold on. A lot of us did purchase a node license for the ability to have that. So morally, I believe they're accountable to us for that. So maybe by rephrasing how they do that, putting out a roadmap and saying, hey, we're targeting Q4 for this. Here we have 3 people working on this this project. There's problems, there's issues, we have to talk to people, We're shooting for Q4 on that. If we're getting close to Q4, and maybe there's speed bumps that they've hit along the way, communicate it better than just sending out an announcement saying, yeah, hey, we've hit a couple of speed bumps. We're not doing the NFT right now. We'll get back to you. You have then the entire Gala node licensee community going, well, what the hell was that? Instead, hey, our roadmap's going to be updated. We've run into some snags. Here's what we're bumping into. Bip, 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 bip. We've assigned more people to the project. We're going to take these steps, A, B, C, D, and we're updating the roadmap to show that we're now shooting for a realistic target of Q2 and 22. We'll keep you updated as we go. I'm not asking for them to talk about their financials. I'm not asking them to disclose all of their private little secrets that any company, any for-profit company would have. What we're saying, though, I think, is that a lot of us, and I'm not the only one, I really don't believe that, that does feel that that accountability should be there.
Okay, first things first, can you remove your video because it's showing up on the left side of the screen here. Perfect. Now everything looks awesome. So you have a couple things there, and I answered one of them on the Discord, but I'll go back into it. And so first things first is I've seen projects do this. They've put out they throw down a vision. This is what I want, and then they immediately put a roadmap, and then they're like, buy our stuff. And I like to use Star Citizen as an example because I've been following them and I've been intimately involved with them for years. The problem with roadmaps is how they conflict with vision. Now, roadmaps are good, and I think even essential for projects that are beholden to certain people, such as they might have some venture capital investors that are funding them and so on. From what I understand, Gala Games is primarily self-funded between the people who run the company. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the case. If that's the case, and they're not beholden to anybody, roadmaps only serve to hurt. Now, you do have a point that they should define what the hell it is that they're making for us. And I think they are, but they're doing it in bits and pieces because they realize that, and you need to realize that every time you open your mouth regarding this is what we're going to do, you've immediately drawn a line that you cannot cross. And I say that because your people, your fans, are going to look at that and they're going to hold you to every single implied promise you make, as well as explicit promise that you make. And what's worse is they will disagree. If you ever change direction, if you ever determine something's too hard, you will get roasted over it. And Star Citizen, whenever they have changed direction, no matter how tiny of a direction, it gets, especially the more popular project gets, it gets listed in publications. Oh my God, what the hell is Chris Roberts doing? This guy is insane. First he's going to do this, then he's going to do that. Dude can't make up his mind. It gets into politics. And I'm sure if you follow politics, you'll find that politicians always have to do damage control over things they say. And of course, it's best that they say as little as possible and stay with the overarching stuff. So getting back to my original point with vision, though, so my understanding is that one of the Gala's projects, I believe Mirandus, is and maybe Townstar, is a vision of a particular developer. I think that's Townstar Master, and I know that he's in charge of those things. When you have a vision and you want to get a vision done, there's a couple ways you can go about it. One, you could start your vision and see where it goes. That seems to be how Kickstarters want to work these days, and that seems to be how agile development works. But also, the other way is to define everything up front. Well, that's known as waterfall development, and waterfall development is notoriously hard and unrealistic. Waterfall development causes you to do a ton of work up front before you tell anybody anything, and frankly, if they wanted to be the safest they could, they would just tell everybody everything up front. Here's the 97 features that we're going to do. However, I suspect they're using agile development as the reason, in my opinion, is the crypto space is a moving target. Also, if you want to be a good entrepreneur, you don't want to really box yourself in here. You need to give yourself space in which to create. You'll find that writers and designers, authors, and so on, They love to have as much space as possible to create. You get a more interesting and cool product when you can do that. So the challenge that they have at Gala Games is determining the sweet spot. Now, I do agree with your desire for accountability, but the question really is, what are they accountable to? If they haven't defined their vision because they're still figuring it out, and they've already told you, we're still figuring out our vision, what are they being accountable to?
Boy, there's a lot to unpack there too. So we're throwing like these huge bombs at each other, and there's like multiple parts. So
Take
what are
that!
they what are they accountable to? So if they this is going to be another bone of contention, I think, that people have opinions on. They might lean more towards your side or my side on, but the accountability, if they don't know what their vision is, then they shouldn't be taking $11,500 per node at this point with no accountability and making
There should be
ascertain. No,
the node
no,
accountability. They
they're
have node
saying
accountability.
they are
NODE.
marketing. They are marketing right now that we own the assets. We own the NFTs, yes, but we do not own the node licenses. We're renting basically right now. And there's no escape from that. And they're not making a disclaimer that, hey, this might not ever happen. They're still marketing it as last I saw. Maybe it's changed, but last I saw that when you buy a node license, it will eventually, they're going towards making it an NFT. So they're using that to get people into the node ecosystem, but then there's no accountability for making that happen or no information on why it's not happening. That's why we say demand accountability. Yes, because they're happy to take the assets in for the purchase of that, but then they don't have to tell us anything, and they rest back on their laurels with, hey, you don't own part of Gala Games, you're not a shareholder,
Okay.
so
Can
we
I
don't owe you anything. That's
can I stop
bullshit.
you
That's why
there?
people get mad.
Can I stop you there before you go too far? Um, so you mentioned, and you were getting away from it. That's why I was wanting to stop you. You were mentioning they're selling us NFTs. They're selling us actual items that are usable in game, and they're also selling us licenses. And I wanted to stick to licenses and NFTs. Now, before I've used I've used an example with NFTs where I've said NFTs are a lot like Star Wars action figures. Star Wars has put out action figures for years. And okay, that's fine. They put out the action figures, but then the movies go in all these weird directions. Shouldn't we, as action figure owners, actually have some sort of say in how the movies work? No, we don't, because we don't own the company. We have nothing to do with the company. We are fans. Now, licenses. The licenses for these nodes. These nodes are to support an ecosystem that Gala will not be managing. They are going to play a part in this ecosystem. Now, you might have a point in saying, well, they're managing it up first because they're putting it together and they need to be able to test these nodes, and therefore we're providing them value. They need us, and so on. Great. You have a good reason to demand rules for a test program, or say, the node test phase or something like that, which I'd be interested in finding out if they had something with that. However, they kind of go around that too by saying, look, if you want to run a node, buy one. The very fact that you'd be running it is going to support us. They have said we could go this direction, we could go that direction. We don't know exactly what we're going to do yet. We're going to try a number of things. These nodes will help us. And so again, I'm going to demand from you, what the hell are you asking for? You want some sort of rules around these nodes that they have to follow, some sort of an accountability. What are they supposed to be accountable for? What are they supposed to do for you?
I already iterated that in my diatribe at the beginning. It has to be a vision that is laid out, okay? And it's understandable if they have just targets listed. This is what we want to do, but it's all laid out just like the Holochain roadmap that was put out. That changes, and people understand that changes. Although the things that are listed there is what they're working on, and they provide weekly updates in the blogs on how they're achieving that progress. And when changes are made, they communicate them very articulately. And that helps people make decisions on whether or not they want to buy a holo node and partake in the system. One of my bones of contention falls along that same line, which ties directly into this. And it's the question I asked you that you finally answered that's, to me, a total bullshit answer. As long as it takes for them to just figure it out, well, no. Again, they're asking us to put tens of thousands of dollars into this ecosystem for something that, as well, we're going to make it an NFT, but wait, we can't, and I don't know. And we're just, how long does that go on before it's not going to go on anymore? People are going to get to a point where they're going to say, enough's enough. But then we're stuck because we have no exit from that. We own the license to that node, but we don't really own it because we can't do anything with it. We can't sell it. The NFTs, on the other hand, the property and all of the buildings, the exemplars, sure, those can be liquidated if we've had enough with the system. So how long is enough is enough? Well, to me, as long as it takes is not good enough. And that's where a roadmap would help us. We can look and point to it on the roadmap, just like the node map note, and we can say, this is their target, this is what they're working towards. And if it changes, it changes. But people make decisions with $11,500 right now based on what they tell us. And then later, it's just a one-sentence blurb, oh, we can't do that, we'll figure it out. No, that, to me, that's the accountability I want.
As long as it takes is what it has to be. It has to be because of the few promises that they've made you. Again, you're buying a license to run a node. Now, when you look in the software industry and you buy a license for software, and I'm thinking, because I'm a programmer, I'm thinking Microsoft Visual Studio, or you could think of Illustrator and so on, you get the same non-assurances. Let's take Illustrator. I bought Illustrator CS2 way back when in 2005. And it was a packaged program. And I was like, hey, this is great. I'm going to have CS2. I've now bought Illustrator. It's the first time I've been able to afford this in just however many years I've wanted it. I'd wanted it for like 10 years prior to that. It was like it's $2,000 for Adobe CS2. And excuse me. And so I got that. I started running it. I ran it for years. And then guess what? They changed the terms. They wrote down a whole bunch of terms as to my license to the program, but they changed the terms. And then what basically happened with that is they introduced, one of the updates introduced something where it had to phone home, and I had to verify my license all the time. That really sucked because every time I reinstalled it, I had to go type in the license, and it would then activate the product. Well, guess what happened a few years ago? That phone home stopped working. It stopped working because they just decided it stopped working one day. You know what that means? I don't have Adobe Illustrator CS2 anymore. I have nothing. I have a box of software that I can't run. Are they accountable? Depends what you mean by accountable. They have listed out the terms of a license, but they, and those terms said we can change it at any time. It's worth mentioning that Windows 10 is just like this. Windows 10 is a license. You don't own it. There's nothing about it that you own. Yet you do own the Mirandus NFTs. You own the land, you own the exemplars, and so on. When we start talking about the node license, you own a license at the moment. Now, I don't recall how the promise to make it into an NFT was worded, but my understanding has always been we're planning to make that an NFT. That's not a promise. That's a plan. and that won't hold up in court, in my opinion. So right now you have a license, and that license can simply go away, just like Adobe CS2. What you're really, really, really complaining about here is the fact that perhaps you weren't adequately prepared before you bought this stuff. And so you definitely have room to demand a disclaimer. And that's a big problem with crypto in general, is there's so many areas where disclaimers should be put, and that's why there's a strong desire to regulate crypto a lot more. So you have a point, but if we look at current and past law, or current law, and the way that things have been done in software in the past, you're actually better off with these NFTs that you own than you would with any other game that's out right now.
It's apples and oranges compared to Microsoft licenses and Gala node licenses. So, first of all,
Not at all.
Microsoft.
They're the same.
First
They're
of all,
the same.
First of all, Microsoft doesn't charge 11,000 and climbing for every license. For every person that buys a Microsoft license,
try buying a site license for their
it
enterprise
doesn't
software.
increase after every 100 purchases by $100.
It actually, there's room to say that too.
Okay. And second of all,
you've got to do some research on that subject. If buying software for a company is expensive, buying a site license is expensive. I'm using an old, outdated term of site license, but it's still applicable.
it's a couple $100. Okay. It's
not a chance.
It's not that
chance.
much. Second of all,
not a chance. It's thousands.
Don't tell me I'm
thousands.
unprepared going into buying something that I don't understand. That's condescending and rude.
No, I think
right?
you're demanding
it is. No. You buy the license, and there are expectations because of how they market it. There is that expectation there. The problem is that there's no way to market it correctly where everybody is going to be happy. So you can from the legal standpoint, from the Jesse side of it, you can say, oh, absolutely, there should be no expectation of a reward. No, in reality now says, who is going to give some entity, whether it's decentralized or centralized or anybody, who's going to give them $11,500 with no expectations of a return just so they can help the ecosystem? I would bet you, and we had this discussion in that big thread where nobody wants to acknowledge that point, and they can't. From a legal standpoint, I get that. We all get that. But nobody's going to buy a node that's that expensive and expect nothing in return. It's just reality.
I've worked at a number of software development houses, and I can tell you that the software that we have purchased to process things, I have myself specifically written checks for over $50,000 for software licenses. And those licenses can and have gone dead after a while when the company decides they don't want to do it. Now, it's usually in that company's best interests to kind of want to make sure that you're covered. But if the company goes out of business or something, you're kind of SOL. Or if they change direction after a number of years, or if they determine we don't have enough users, they will drop you. Okay, bye. I think you're saying you're demanding customer protections more than maybe a business protection. You're saying, well, they're asking customers to purchase something for tens of thousands of dollars. I disagree with that because, you're asking a customer to buy a Lamborghini. You're asking a customer to buy a small airplane, or a house. What customer protections are there for them? Well, there's contract kind of protections. There's you've got to deliver what you promised and stuff like that. And I'm sure that you can find licenses that go up into the millions of dollars. I'm very sure you can find licenses that go up into the millions of dollars. They're just not consumed by individuals as much. So I could certainly see a fair amount of education for customers before they buy something. And I could see Gala Games posting on there, hey, be sure of what you're really getting into. Because right now they're saying, hey, you want to play the game? Want to unlock certain parts of the game? Pay $10,000 for this NFT. But if you don't have it, then you don't do it. I mean, it really comes down to brass tacks. I'd like to say that it was different. I wish it was different, but it's how the game is directed. Is the game here's a question for these thousands of dollars of NFTs? A homestead is I think $2,000 right now on OpenSea. Is everybody going to have a homestead? Well, there's only so many of them, like 1,000 or 2,000 homesteads. Probably not. They're planning to have millions of players. So how could you justify having a limited amount of homesteads with that many players? Well, maybe it could be that not everybody should be owning these homesteads. So again, they could have some better messaging, and I could see you demanding better at messaging. But when it comes down to brass tacks, I have a hard time thinking that they're beholden to you once you purchase something. They might want to be beholden to you, but I don't think they should be beholden to you. And there's a difference.
They're not beholden to me, and that's not what I'm asserting. Then they need to change the marketing on that and say there is no rewards available, and period. And you are giving the ability to just support the network.
Why take away the rewards?
That's the crux of this whole thing, because people buy them with the expectation then of getting those rewards, even though they say they're not guaranteed. If this is such a great thing, then there should be no rewards, and we'll see how many people pay $11,500 for these nodes.
You're taking a suggestion and you're making it sound like you're making an analysis. So grocery stores have rewards systems. Airlines have reward systems. And if you look in their fine text, their fine print, you will find that a lot of them say, we don't owe you a damn thing. You may not get rewards. Plans may change, and so on. It's in their best interests to make things as rewarding as possible, which I see this latest node vote that they have is doing. They're wanting to make it to where you want to do it more. Well, that's fine. That's completely legal to incentivize the hell out of people. But maybe this is their downfall. Maybe this is the problem that you're having is they're really emphasizing the small print that a grocery store might tell you about their rewards card. And maybe you should really look at your rewards card in a different way now.
We're going off topic with your deflections. So
that's not a deflection.
It is a complete
keeping things
deflection.
Equal. This is what a judge is going to pay attention to.
We're not talking about a judge, and we're not talking about legality, because we know there's no legal basis for them to do anything here. We are talking about how they are marketing and selling their nodes with no accountability for the back end of what happens after you purchase a node.
And I'm asking how do you see other things?
Then put a disclaimer that says exactly that you have to check the box that you've read, and it says we owe you nothing. It's just like anything else. We might pay you, we might not pay you. It's really just up to whatever we decide.
I could agree
and see
with
how
that.
see how many people click the I still want to go ahead with this transaction button.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Yeah.
Now the
I
thing
don't
is,
think many people are going to.
the thing is, so that box, I don't think that box is there because I haven't bought a node in eons. But even if that box is, well, the box may not be there. If that box is not there, they're mentioning it a lot in the Discord. They say it all the time. That's one of your complaints.
It's not a complaint. Look, it has to be done better on the front side so that people's expectations are managed before they purchase it, not after. And the marketing, and I think I posted it last week, maybe somewhere. They have on that, oh, there's nothing guaranteed, but we're going to pay them. And there's still on the Gala blog, here's what you get as a node owner. We're going in this direction. They're using those terms to market the nodes, but then they're not being accountable. And this is where people get angry. They're not angry because they're not getting stuff. They're not angry because of anything else. What they get frustrated at is the fact that there is no accountability to that, but it's always after the fact. It's not before they get involved with it. And that would solve so many problems. Having the accountability system would solve so many problems. And I don't know if it's a resource issue. I don't know if it's a legal issue as to why they can't do that.
It's a definition issue.
Well, yeah, but again, that has to be clear, and that's on them because they're selling those nodes.
I would say the definition issue is literally the interplay between you as a node owner and Gala Games. They started building this. They said, buy these nodes. We can't guarantee anything. And they've started with that. Since then, and well, I think even at the time, they were saying, we're figuring this out as we're going on. Don't buy nodes. Don't buy nodes. Don't buy nodes. I see don't buy nodes all the time. Now, again, you're getting back to messaging. You just like them to message something a bit different. There's nothing illegal or wrong with what they're doing. They're just focusing more about telling you the negative right now than the positive. They're doing the opposite of grocery stores right now, but they do tell you what you're going to get. You're going to get this if when things go the way we want, you're going to get this, you're going to get this, you're going to get this. So I don't see them hiding this information. They're just telling you what it is. But it sounds like you want some sort of formalized thing besides all the, information that they're telling you in the Discord. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, you keep putting words in my mouth when you say, this is what you're really thinking. It's not. Okay, please stop doing that. You're trying to lead me down a road so that I'll just agree and give up, and that's not going to happen. So if nothing else, then they need to change their disclaimers and put in there clearly then something along the lines of, hey, the original plan with these nodes was to turn them into NFTs. Right now, we don't have a plan to do that because regulation, the resources, we haven't explored it far enough. So you will not be able to sell this as an NFT or exchange it or trade it or do anything with it. You are stuck with it until we decide if we're able to do this, and we may not.
That is exactly what I read before I bought my node. I read that very thing in their white paper.
Okay, where's the white paper?
That's you have a point there, but that's what I read.
Right? But they're not saying that to people going in. Look, I hate the fact that you push at me that I'm complaining or there's a problem or anything else. I'm doing the same thing you're doing. I'm trying to help Gala Games as well. I used to go in the server a lot more, but with the way that this is going, it's just a bunch of misinformed, miscommunicated exchanges back and forth. It's crazy. They need to do a better job, period. They have to do a better job. Now, what does that look like? I don't know. That's what we're talking about. This is hopefully the text that we type back and forth with our discussions and these audio casts might give them some ideas. And other community members, whether they fall in line more with what you're saying or fall in line more with what I'm saying, they need to open their mouths on either side of it as well, so that Benefactor and Bitbender and Carrie and the mods and everybody over there can sit down in a room and start having these discussions to try and get a handle on it and come up with a game plan. And maybe it's not a roadmap today. I'm not saying they have to do that today or else, or whatever the case may be, but they do need to address it, and they need to address it sooner rather than later. And I think that that not only improves the ecosystem, it improves the ability for people to do things in the ecosystem, get more involved in it, get more excited about it. That's what this is really about, because everybody's going to have their opinion. And you're right when you said, we all have an opinion. Let's put it out there. Let's get it fixed, and let's get a vision. Let's take Gala Games' vision and put it in writing somewhere and say, this is what we're looking to achieve, and get those, if you want to call them disclaimers or whatever else, something this simple. Okay, something this simple. You can, because they're into smart contracts, you can purchase a node besides the refund program. Okay, I get that part. When you purchase a node, there's an automatic 48-hour freeze on the transaction. It's there. You can buy it. It's sitting in a smart contract waiting to be executed. And then refer them to the Gala room that talks about how these nodes work, and let them see how it works, and let them view the roadmap. And if they still want to continue at the end of that 48-hour period, they can click, yes, I want to continue. Then there's no reason for them to come up with things later like that. But I do believe Gala Games has to do better.
So you've got me about as far as they should have some better communication. They should have some better wording. Now, I've been saying that since the beginning of this. You can roll back the tape, as it were, and you'll hear me saying the same things. In fact, you'll hear me putting those words in your mouth, and now you're saying them. So you're basically saying, I didn't say that, and then you're going on and saying just that. I want to back up a little bit, because you made a point about what basically uninformed users on their Discord might think. That's a problem with every crypto project. Having clear communication can help there, but even with the clearest communication, you're going to have people that are going to hear rumors, they're going to assume one thing or another, and they're going to go to the Discord and they're going to type it out like, this is what I understand. However, to say something like this is what I understand, it takes a certain amount of maturity. You're going to have a number of people that say, well, wait, this happens. And then they'll be corrected. Well, no, it doesn't. They'll go, really? There's a lot of really young people here, and really new to investing or new to crypto type of people in here that simply hear something from somebody who sounds reputable, and then they think it's true. And then they go to talk about it in the Gala Discord, and then they have, moderators giving them huge amounts of problems, like, how could you keep propagating this stuff? And I bet some of them are like, well, there's reasons for it. And others are like, no, I had no idea. That's a big problem with every single project out there. And I've seen moderators with Star Citizen, for example, take people to task for constantly repeating the wrong things. And really, the end point of that I've seen on a number of projects, it isn't good. Basically, they get kicked off. In fact, people who continue to say the wrong things, they're just gone, because they're causing too much chaos. They're causing too many people to get the wrong ideas. And I'm going to blame a little bit of the SEC versus XRP here, because the SEC will look at the Discord and they'll say, well, you guys were making it look like you were going to do something like this. So there's some messaging, that can go a long way here. They could put a disclaimer in the Discord. They could put a disclaimer on their page. They could put a disclaimer automatically popping every 5 seconds. The question is, how and when should these disclaimers be put? Because you're always going to find a place where somebody didn't see or didn't understand or didn't really grok the disclaimer. So the node owners is one thing. The node owners, you could put a little checkbox when they buy the node. Okay, I ain't getting shit. It's okay. I still know what the hell I'm doing with my money. But everyone else, somebody who buys a $5 NFT, they're not going to know that. Should it be on the purchase of every NFT? Okay, that's good too. Let's do that. Oh, but then about what if you buy an NFT off of OpenSea, that somebody else purchased? Well, that disclaimer's not there anymore, and it's not Gala's legal, ability. Well, they can't even do that. They can't even put a disclaimer in there, I guess, unless you want to encode it in the NFT. That's something you could do too. There's the bottom line is, they can only tell you so much.
I get that, and other projects are different projects. Gala is revolutionizing, I think. I've looked at a couple other projects, not completely in depth like I do here, but they're the ones that can set precedents. They have Benefactor, who is huge in the online gaming community. So setting that precedent and driving the ship is a good thing that he is there. So he can drive this ship however he wants and set the precedent for others and make others follow the model that is successful. So those things can be done, and they're going to screw up, and they're going to have ridiculous successes also. And that's part of it. And I understand your point hammering down about more communication. Yes, that is a part of it. But the crux of it is eliminating issues and problems that can get a lot of people very salty very quickly, and eventually down the road probably leading to lawsuits, which nobody wants and nobody needs. But really, it's driving it down and setting that precedent here. And I hate it because I always talk about the condescending tone, and this is going to sound ridiculously condescending, but Gala Games needs to teach and train the community what's acceptable and what's not, and here's how we're going to do that. You can put in these things, and you can talk bluntly and keep it within that legal framework. But communicating these things better is essential, yes. And that's going to take a lot of the pressure. Right now, it seems like everybody is so focused on this issue and other issues similar to this and how much payments are and da. I thought this was supposed to be about gaming. We need people talking about the games. We need people excited about the games, not all this crap behind nodes and licenses and what they're getting and what they're not getting. We need to take that pressure. Gala Games, in my opinion, should be responsible for taking all this pressure of all these issues away so that they can focus the community on becoming involved in the gaming ecosystem and making it better. And that's what these talks and these threads are about, is so that they can read them, they can get a better understanding. The CFA Discord is a treasure trove of information and feedback from the community that Gala executives and officers can look at and read and not get themselves in trouble for allowing it on their Discord for. That is huge. They can't get that intelligence anywhere else. So this is where these voices can express these things and keep the Gala server very, very focused on increasing the engagement on the game side. That's what I would like to see.
Okay, so you've introduced a few new concepts here, and I want to focus on. And I'll ask you rather than tell you what you're thinking. How's that? Are you feeling like you are helping build this game?
No, I don't feel like I'm helping build the game or a company or anything. What I'm doing is I'm passionate about Gala Games' success.
You're a fan.
From both a fan standpoint, but also from a financial standpoint. So I want to be able to keep that line of communication open where we have people's ear and we can help point them in the right direction. And sometimes my suggestion or your suggestion or anybody's suggestion, they're going to go, forget it. That's not relevant, or but when you see large groups of people all speaking towards a central themed idea or problem, that's something that maybe they can pull out and discuss and say, okay, well, we see that there's a large group of people who are kind of saying the same thing. How do we approach this and fix this so that we can put this to rest? And the ways that they've approached it, unfortunately, have to be from that legal standpoint, and they can't say too much. Their hands are tied, and that just creates more issues.
So this open commenting that you want, open, this back and forth, almost psychological introspection, is something that most companies don't do. They will take your opinion. They'll do a poll, and they'll be like, hey, do you want thing 1 or thing 2? I'm thinking of Magic the Gathering because I collect a lot of their stuff. I wish they were in the crypto sphere, but they're not. But I collect a lot of their cards, and there's no back and forth between the company. There's no introspection between the company and the player. And so here, now you have an opportunity where Gala Games is saying, you know what, we want to kind of take you along our journey with us and talk to you and get your opinions. And basically, you're taking that to the nth degree. You're like, oh my God, now that I have this newfound freedom to say whatever the hell I want, let me give you a piece of my mind. And yeah, I can understand that. But when you do that, you also have this kind of hidden expectation. There's a lot of expectation that they will listen to you. I'm having the same problem with my Discord. I invite lots of people to talk to me and tell me what their opinions are about the Discord. But inherent in anything that people say is an expectation that I might just do it. So I have to tamp that down pretty quick and say, look, guys, I'm just taking opinions. I may not do this. Now, the difference between my Discord, which is free and it's a side project of mine, and Gala is they have a lot of employees and they have a product, and people really feel like they own the product. I don't know of car companies that do this. I don't know of non-crypto. I don't know of a lot of non-crypto companies that let you do stuff like this. Very many at all. I do know that it's more of a recent thing with Kickstarters, because Kickstarters are like, hey, we can't get any venture capitalists, so we want to come to you. And then people give their $10 and they're like, all right, let me give you a piece of my mind. Well, Gala isn't even doing that. You're not investing in the product. You have no standing. And so now you're like, look, buddy, you need to answer these questions. No, they don't. I want to move on to something else here that you had raised. So people will talk about gaming when the game comes out. Right now, all they can talk about is their wants, their wishes, their ideas, and people can come up with a million different ways to do Mirandus. And I guarantee when it will come out, some people will be disappointed. They'll be like, oh, I thought it was going to be like this. I mean, it's kind of like, The Empire Strikes Back as a movie. It was great. It was the best Star Wars movie that there was out there because people got this certain idea. And then Return of the Jedi came out and they're like, oh, yeah, you have a sister. That's kind of stupid. And then, in the later movies, you defined what the Force was. Oh, thanks. Yeah, that wasn't my definition of the Force. I lived with 20 years thinking a different thing. Well, the same thing's going to go with Mirandus and its features. People are going to be like, oh my God, but you had said this and this and this. And, you'll see parts where they go, yeah, and we tried that and it didn't work and we had to go to something else. And they're like, screw you. I understand the desire to hold them to what they say, but they're also being very careful about what they say, because it affects more than just what they can do. if they have a deal with a third party to put something in Mirandus and they tell you too soon, that deal could fall apart. Now people are just going to give them all sorts of shit that there's nothing that they can do about it. They just made an oops, and all of a sudden the deal fell apart, and so they have to tell you much, much later. And there's a lot more of that goes on than you think, because if you think that they're building Mirandus all themselves, you're mistaken. They're using other tools developed by other people. They have lots of partnerships. There's so many ways to box themselves in that at the moment, I don't think that you can be fair and hold them accountable to the features of the games. The nodes, the most I think you could be accountable to that is to say, when you buy the node, just to let you know, you're getting nothing. I think that's the most I can get out of all of this.
Yeah, we have 2 hours worth of text that kind of goes over all this same stuff, and
yeah, we're going to rehash it if we keep this up.
So, I mean, and I saw this in one of the Gala server messages, and it was the same thing. Somebody got upset because the way that you phrased the beginning of your statement, nobody else does this, no other companies do this. So it's a privilege. Well,
by the way, I'm sure there's exceptions to that.
Right.
Saying.
I mean, if you're making us feel privileged, that's very arrogant. But then again, it ties back to you're asking us to be your Kickstarter.
I'm just trying to say that it's new. I don't even want to make you feel privileged.
Right. Well, but that's the way it kind of sounds.
It's unprecedented
when people say that. Right. But again, we're their Kickstarter. They're getting money from other revenue sources. Sure, they have partnerships. They've sold some Citadels, whatever. But a large part of their income does come from the Kickstarter called a node license. And so they do, whether they legally do or whatever, they should still, in my opinion, be accountable for that, because we are becoming the people who run that, and they're marketing.
It's in their best interests. Yes.
And they're marketing. This is you owning a part of your assets for the first time ever, which excites people. They're using that to bring people in and to buy nodes and to buy NFTs. They are responsible for that marketing then, in my opinion.
Okay, I can defend your point. I can defend your point pretty well too. I've taken this other side simply because you've taken that your side. I am on your side as well, and I don't want people, or even people listening to this, or you, thinking that I don't understand your pain. This is a new thing where games are being made and we're buying NFTs, and this is a new thing that companies are starting to include their fans in the development of the games. But it's so new that nobody really knows how to act. The people come in and they think it's like, going and buying something from a store. All of a sudden, everybody turns into a Karen. Let me see your manager. I want to talk to you about this. And you get too much of that, and all you're going to have is managers talking to people and no work being done. I get it. There definitely needs to be a forum for where that could be done. But people, like you said, need to be educated to know really what they're going to be able to get away with. You can't just let everybody just run roughshod over you, or again, you're not going to have a product. You're at a certain point, you're going to have to say, back off, let me finish the damn job.
If you think about it and you analyze these people's issues, complaints, problems, bitches, moans, the whole 9 yards, when you really boil it down, they're trying to help Gala Games by doing that. It's not a complaint that is not geared towards trying to help them succeed. So I think that's a good thing. But
the best way to train people in the way that you're asking for, frankly, is to gate people. Is to basically, when I say gate, I mean make it so that they have to pay to give that information. like a patron or something like that. If they pay to do this, now Gala needs to listen to them. Gala has to report, and so they could make a program saying, well, we'll let you into this room where you could say whatever the hell you want, and we will give you a response on it, if you pay for the privilege, and that will give them a stake in how things are going. Um, I don't know how far that should go or how it should be set up, um, or even how small of a complaint that they should respond to. Remember, the White House actually has a program that was started under Obama where they have, if you get, I think, 1,000 people that sign off on asking, or 10,000 people that ask the same question, that they will make an official response to it. And so then, unfortunately, what you get is you have 10,000 people asking the White House if they're going to build a Death Star. And so then the White House has to put out an official statement saying, no, we have no plans on putting out a Death Star anytime in the future. And they start asking really silly, stupid questions. And so there's got to be, some sort of zone of reality here to where, no, I'm not going to answer that stupid question. It's been asked 65 times. You just took it in this weird direction. No, we're not going to put devil horns on your Miranda's character. You know, we're going to do it this way. We're going to make it so that you could do that. That's not our vision, and so on. And every time they respond, you're going to turn some people off. Well, I wanted devil horns on my Miranda's character. That's what I thought all along. Well, you had said earlier that I could customize my character any way I wanted. Yeah, we didn't say how we were going to customize it. And you're going to get the same thing that you're mentioning, but on a little bit by bit level. So you can, at the very least, if they're paying, they have to get, Gala has to answer. But again, I don't see Gala ever incentivized to do something like that. I think if I were making this program, I would just do what they did and just respond to the things that I want to. Be like, most of this is BS. Yeah. This guy said a good thing. I'll respond to that one thing.
All right, we can go like 4 hours on this.
Totally can. You might want to tell people that you still do love me and that you don't hate me.
Well, of course, no. This has been our dynamic for 30 years. We both kind of wiggle into our trenches with opinions on things, and we are polar opposites on a lot of topics. I mean, people probably do think we hate each other at some point, but
well, they want you to be president, apparently.
Yeah, well, it is hard being online. You can't see tones, inflections, smiles, and it's hard to read as an outsider if you're just reading a wall of text. What their persona really is, and hopefully the people will listen to things like this and understand that it's just good-spirited discussions, and we don't call each other names or get nasty with each other. It's just forming those trenches and digging in, and hopefully people can grab parts out of this that they hadn't thought about before.
So, in honor of keeping this a bit short at an hour, I think I'd like to end this little bit. I think it'll be a very interesting subject. Hopefully, people will want to listen to this.
Well, hey, good talk yet again.